Okay, this is the first lecture video for Paralegal Practice. I apologize for waiting this long before the first lecture came up. Like I mentioned, I was a little under the weather when I was going to record the last one. Most likely for each class, Monday evening is when the video should show up, if all goes well. Let me jump right into it. As I mentioned on the website, Paralegal Practice is going to be more practice. It's going to be more doing rather than reading and the like. So I'm not going to spend too much time explaining things. I'm going to expect you to just jump right in and do it. A lot of these exercises are meant to give you a brief introduction into what it's like to be a paralegal, what sorts of things you will be doing. The number one thing that is likely to happen when you work for an attorney, the attorney is going to be very busy. That's the reason why the paralegal is hired in the first place. You're hired to hit the ground running. If they have to babysit you, that's time out of their pocket. So the more you get comfortable in just jumping in and trying to get something done, the better you'll be at it. You have to keep that in the back of your mind. At the same time, you can't go beyond what you know. So don't be afraid to ask questions and try your best to not ask too many questions at the beginning. Try to do it, keep your questions together. Try to minimize the amount of time the attorney has to take out of his or her busy schedule to check up on you or answer your questions. But you don't want to overextend yourself. You do need to have that ability to take it upon yourselves to figure out how to do things whenever that's possible. Timekeeping and transcription, that's the very first part of the very first assignment for this class. I'm just going to briefly go over, this should be a very short video. We went over previously what sorts of things we're looking at when we talk about timekeeping. Usually it's a matter of having the start time, the end time, the attorney or the paralegal who's working on the material, the client number and the matter number. A client may have multiple issues, so each issue will be assigned its own matter. And then finally, notes about what was done. And that's it in a nutshell. Time is usually calculated in terms of a point system. So for instance, 0.5 would be half an hour, 0.25 would be a quarter of an hour, etc. I'm going to expect that all the work you do in this class, one of the assignments at the end of the semester is going to be to give me an Excel sheet or a Word document that includes all the time that you've spent in this class doing different things. You can go ahead and make up clients and matter numbers. Don't forget the date. So you want the date, your start time, your end time, your name. You can put the class number as this client, make up matter numbers, and then notes telling me exactly what you did. This is just to get you into the mindset of keeping time. Your first assignment, your first thing that we're going to be jumping right into is transcription. As a paralegal, particularly in smaller firms, you are going to have to transcribe. And some of you have already put in stuff on the Dictation software that's out there. There's a lot of different ones. If you happen to get in an office that has the old tape type of dictation machines, then you're likely going to be handed a tape with the attorney speaking on it. You'll put it into the tape player, and there's usually a pedal that you can tap under your foot that you can tap to pause what's being played. That'll allow you time to catch up while you're typing. In dictation, particularly when a paralegal transcribes, the attorney is expecting the paralegal to at least take a little bit of initiative. So they may say things in abbreviations or shorten things, or take a second out of actually dictating and say, you know, find the name of the engineer on this file and put it here. Well, they might not do that for a legal assistant, but for a paralegal they might, because they expect you to think for yourself and be like, oh yeah, okay, I know what file that is. Let me go look up the name of the engineer and I'll just put it in this spot. Some generalities about transcription. Be accurate. Usually an attorney will review the material, not always. So it's imperative that you be accurate. If you have a question, highlight it and bring it to the attention of the attorney. Sometimes you just can't understand what's being said, or it might be a bizarre legal word that you've never heard before. The point is you need to highlight it and make mention of it so that it doesn't get accidentally sent off to a client or to a judge somewhere. In dictation, generally a well-groomed attorney who's been doing the work for a while will dictate periods, commas, open quote, open quotation, close quotation, open paren for parentheses, close paren to close a parentheses, semicolon, colon. You're going to hear the punctuation. What you might not always hear is tab. You might hear new paragraph, which means a new paragraph. You might hear things like put the introduction here for the letter, the address, etc. Create a letter, create a complaint, etc., etc. Now throughout this semester I'm going to have different assignments based on what we're learning, dealing with different things that I expect you to transcribe. This is to get you used to transcription. The good thing is when you're working for a law office, chances are they're going to have the items that I mentioned with the pedal likewise, so that you can pause while you're typing. In this instance, you'll just have to use this, excuse me, the pause button on your mouse or whatnot to pause the audio. Try to be as accurate as possible, and I will grade you on accuracy, so try to be as accurate as you can. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to organize. It is so important to organize. A paralegal that is a great paralegal is one that is very detail-oriented and organizes everything. You just can't have enough organization when it comes to a law office environment. It means filing correctly and organizing files in a way that makes sense. And we'll have assignments on that later on. Taking notes in interviews. After the dictation assignment, which I'll post, I expect there's a 30-minute video or so. I expect you to take notes while you're listening to that, and you can read the My Courses site as to the scenario that brings about you watching this video. And then I'm going to expect that you write a brief memorandum based on those notes. So this is a good time to start taking notes. Be active when you're listening. Don't let your mind wander. And taking notes has been shown over and over again to help you keep your attention on the material. And taking good notes can't be understated. So that's it for this first video. Like I said, it's a quick one. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me or put a question on the discussion forum.